Based on your discussions at council meetings, many residents feel that you are attempting to circumvent last year's vote on the Land Maintenance District 2, which was a no vote. If re-elected, will you move to overturn that vote?
I don't have an input on the Landscape Maintenance District. With Prop 218, we don't have a decision to make whether it's yes or no. That was brought back to the council in a council workshop because people in that community were uninformed and unaware of a lot of what was going on. So it was brought to the city to be opened up for discussion. That vote was done by the people. And some of them have decided that they want a second chance, like other landscape maintenance districts have done. So we're governed under Prop 218, and there's nothing that we can do to sway a vote either way. We can't have any input into that. That's a vote of the people. It's like an assessment in a homeowners association, only it's in the form of a landscape maintenance district. And we're giving the people in that district an opportunity to reevaluate their decision, and the ones that didn't make a decision and an opportunity to have their voices heard.
Just kind of in furtherance, I just want to just clarify something with everybody too, is, as far as my position relative to increases, when I got back on this council 2 years ago, I'm a small business owner for a lot of years, and I consult with businesses. I actually bring hotels into the region. I bring restaurants into the region. I actually do real stuff that creates real jobs. Okay, I don't sell advertising. I literally help them deal with the hoops and hurdles, and there's nobody that knows how to do that better than myself. Having said that, relative to this landscape and this LMD, we got some folks that don't want to let something go. And if that was the case, and just because something was no, you couldn't do it again, then there would be people sitting here right now that wouldn't be able to sit here tonight and run for office, okay? With all due respect, the LMD was voted down. There were people that were concerned, had issues. What do we do now? The council reached out in the openness and transparency and did a workshop. Okay, I'm telling you right now, I will not support any tax increases for city operations during my term on the city council. Okay, Prop 218 requires that any LMD rate increase is something voted on by the voters, by the property owners, and I will respect that process. The city is trying to make sure and be as responsive as they can and inform the residents of the need for us to deal with the financial structural deficit that, quite frankly, this city council should have been dealing with the last 16 years while I was off the council. Okay, you can't roll over the same rate, okay, and not have it expect to catch up with you later on. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what's happening.
That LMD too seemed to be an issue. The city sent out a questionnaire of over 10,000 return stamp envelopes back to the city. 30% of the people replied and said no, they didn't want it. Then the city council got up and said the people didn't understand it. Well, the people understood it, and it's a free country. If they chose not to vote, or they chose to vote, and it ended up the city taking it their own way, they won't let it go. Now they want to spend another $40,000 to send out another survey to get their money. It's a waste of money. And one of the most important things that happened, Labor Day, they had people out there working on LMD too. They can't use them during the week, but they can find time to send them out on Labor Day and pay them time and a half or double time. That's one of the problems with the city right now. That if the people tell you no, it's no. The people voted, and that's what happened.
I pretty much agree with what Mr. Moffitt just said. I do think it's a huge waste of city resources to redo the vote when the people have already voted no on it. But what's even a bigger waste of resources is putting palm trees down the center of roads, putting huge irrigation systems down the center of these roads on the sides of freeways where it's watering the streets, it's wasting water. We need to look at the way we do landscaping in the city, and I think the way we should do it is only do native landscaping. If we had native landscaping, there would be no need for these huge irrigation systems that waste money. The maintenance would be a lot less. So I think that's what we should look at, is only do native landscaping from now on.
There's a lot of workshops that were held by city management. I believe our current city manager was the person that was conducting most of those events with the public. And the public, 30% of the public in landscape maintenance too voted no. Now, that is an issue. because we've had elections with a lot lower turnout, and some of them are elected officers, and we haven't decided, hey, by the way, it's a lower turnout, people weren't very well educated, let's go back and re-elect those people. So it seems kind of odd that we would take that approach for a landscape maintenance district. Now, having said that, I understand that we want to make sure that our neighborhood looks really good. And for me, this is really almost a safety issue. Because if we go back to Giuliani, what was Giuliani's big claim to fame for bringing New York back to par? It's the broken windows concept. If you fix the broken windows, you eliminate the graffiti. If you eliminate the graffiti, you eliminate some of the crime and the things associated with it. If we start letting, or decommissioning the turf, I think was the phrase that I heard, to be able to influence the people in landscape maintenance too, that it may behoove them to reconsider their original vote. Well, folks, when we start making the area not as attractive as it could be, we're going to start things down a spiraling path that we won't be happy with the outcome. And ultimately, it will cost us more money.
I kind of agree with what Mr. Rice said. Well, just to answer the question of the election, the election is election, that's the result. You can't go back and overturn an election results. So I stand with that. But kind of to agree with what Mr. Rice is saying, I think the big lesson that's coming out of this, it is development. And that I know that the city's about 85% already developed, and there's about 15% left. But the big lesson out of this is that future development has to be sound. It has to be responsible. We need to make sure that it's completely paid for through developer fees, and that, yes, we use native landscaping, something that's not going to use a lot of water. It might be a generational thing, that's why we think like that. But it is the way of the future. We have to make sure, I know, I love having a green grass and palm trees and all these beautiful trees, but we're living on this, water's limited. It costs money to maintain this kind of landscaping. So we need to make sure that from now on we take that lesson and when we build stuff in the city, it is sound and it is responsible.